As India's financial landscape evolves, the life insurance sector finds itself at a pivotal crossroad, balancing protection with progress. Today, customer-first thinking, progressive regulation, and digital transformation are reshaping how insurance is accessed, how it's understood, and trusted. In this special episode of HDFC Life Presents Live Sessions in partnership with ET Now, we delve into how the industry is embedding accessibility and affordability into its DNA through product innovation and tech-driven inclusion. As we look ahead to the national goal of achieving insurance for all by 2047, this episode explores how the life insurance industry and HDFC Life in particular is gearing up to make that vision a reality. And joining us today are two industry stalwarts and esteemed leaders from HDFC Life. Mr. Niraj Shah, Executive Director and Chief Financial Officer, and Mr. Vineet Arora, Executive Director and Chief Business Officer, who shared their perspective on how the sector is shaping a future that's secure, inclusive, and deeply customer-centric. Vineet, Niraj, both of you, thank you so much for your time and welcome to ET Now. Vineet, if I could start off with you, the customer-first approach has become very critical to the insurance industry. But has it really percolated or sort of improved accessibility and affordability, more importantly?
Yeah, so I think you're absolutely right. It's not just the customer first, it just started. It's always been the center focus for us always. And as we complete 25 years, it's been one of the pivotal things that we've always looked for. And that reflects in our products, in our journeys, in our experience that we try to deliver. But just coming to the point that you spoke about, which is accessibility and affordability. Accessibility, definitely a lot has happened over the last 25 years. We have now got branches literally in every district, and our branches itself then have channels which are able to catalyze and reach out to customers at the last mile. Plus, we also have a very fair mix of all the distribution channels with us. So we have banks, we have corporate agents, we have a digital presence across the country. So this entire reach of a customer who's intending to buy an insurance can definitely either reach out or can be reached out through one of our channels, which is there present very close to his home or his working place. But accessibility does not really stop at reach. Accessibility is a lot more about, is he able to understand what he's buying, and that's why a lot of focus on vernacular material, making it easy for him to understand what they're trying to buy. Also, in terms of the entire journeys, and is my process very onerous for him to do it? So simplification, because sometimes you can ask for documentation and those are not available, and hence I want insurance but I'm not able to buy it, is also a challenge to accessibility. So how do we find surrogates? How do we establish proof of income through surrogates and things like that? We have also worked a lot on those things, and with more and more data getting available in the ecosystem, this has really helped us really go deeper and deeper into the country. And today nearly 75% of my new business in number of policies comes from the tier 2 and tier 3 from the accessibility. So to answer your question, has accessibility improved? The answer is definitely yes. I think the next point is affordability. If I can access it, can I afford it? So we have a large suite of products. We have more than 60 plus products across various segments: pure protection, savings, investments, and retirement. And this suite of products really cater to different segments in customers. And every customer segment might have a different need. Some would be very price conscious, some might be wanting to invest more so that their returns are higher. So you have a full range of products, and that range of product is now developed, and we have a full suite available. Another one is, we do a lot of micro insurance also, along with a lot of our partners who do lending in micro insurance, and that also makes the product really, really viable for the customer. Another piece that we have seen as a trend in the last, let me say 1 year or 2 years, more or less, is that people trying to enhance their protection through riders and through this thing, which is a very affordable way. So I'm buying a plan, I can add a little more protection on top of it through a rider. I think those are also really coming up. So a lot of trends which are showing that higher protection, higher awareness, and customers are really coming and looking for more.
Niraj, you also must have observed that, right? That in the last 25 years that the sector got privatized, how has consumer behavior towards life insurance changed?
Absolutely. I think a lot of things have changed over the last 25 years. I'll talk about a few mega trends that we see from a consumer perspective. I think one of the biggest drivers has been the change in the socio-economic fabric. The natural insurance within the household used to be the joint family system. That's obviously transitioned given the urbanization and nuclear families and aspirations being different. That's also resulted in the significant credit growth that we've seen in the economy over the past many years, because the comfort of borrowing is now a lot higher than what it used to be. So people are very comfortable consuming from tomorrow's income.
Is the trust factor also now?
Indeed.
Right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So I think people are fairly confident that they'll continue to do well and they can consume from tomorrow's income. That's something that's definitely driving behavior in terms of then making customers aware that, okay, if you're consuming from tomorrow, then you need to protect yourselves and your families. So that's where some of these things are kind of coming in. The second is in terms of how the financial considerations are becoming a little more easier to understand. So people are able to appreciate that in a large economy that's going to do well, interest rates are going to come down. So how are you going to protect yourself once you stop earning? You also realize that in terms of level of financial awareness about things like longevity risk, people are living longer. So what are you going to do post-retirement if some of these things evolve in a different way? Also in terms of mindsets are starting to shift, many years ago with things like superstitions about if I buy insurance, if I talk about something, or if I think about something negative, that could happen to me. Those mindsets have evolved and people are now willing to talk about things that can go wrong, because while they want to be positive, they also want to be prepared.
And practical.
And practical. Thinking of insurance as an expense is also something which is very deep-rooted. So how do you address that and then try and figure products which are sensible and can actually address that kind of a mindset? And lastly, Vineet spoke about it, I think the pockets of growth are also deepening and widening now. So earlier, the focus probably was on the easier to understand salaried customer sitting in a large city. But now as you're going deeper and deeper, you are coming across different customer mindsets and profiles. And how do you kind of get to that? That is also something that is emerging as a big trend. So these are some of the things that we are kind of seeing over the years and trying to address in terms of understanding the customer and then trying to figure out solutions which are relevant. And then at the back end, trying to manage the risk appropriately.
Sure. But in that sense, Niraj, you guys are sort of the pioneers when it comes to product innovation, right? With the market itself broadening, like you said, it's no more the tier one, urban-centric, salaried class that you cater to. It's much more penetrated than that. How do you sort of improvise and innovate within the product profile?
Yeah, so you keep it simple by starting with the customer and how that thought process is evolving. So we spoke about how the comfort with borrowing is increasing. So we've had the privilege of being backed by a powerhouse, HDFC, started as a mortgage company and now obviously integrated in the bank. Access to customers who were borrowing for buying a house, that was actually a starting point for us actually getting into something which is called credit life, where we attach protection to someone who's buying or consuming any product with a loan. Started with mortgages, then it moved into other loan categories like vehicles, personal loans, education loans, and then over the years through MFIs, partnerships with NBFC. So that's a category which we pioneered, and it now is a very, very meaningful vehicle by which we are able to reach out to anywhere between 40 to 60 million Indians a year and covering them by offering pure protection solutions. We also scaled the online protection business when this started about 15 odd years back, where there was a small segment of people who were happy to kind of engage with this by themselves without interacting with intermediaries. It took a lot of time to scale up, but that's something that we did look at very, very closely. Over the years, what we've seen is that the appreciation for guarantees has evolved. So there used to be a simple guaranteed annuity product which a customer bought at the age of 60 after retirement. What we realized after talking to customers is a lot of people backed out because someone in the 50s still had some time to go and they had the earning years ahead of them, but they wanted to lock into a rate today. So how do you do that? So we came up with something called a deferred annuity product, where someone at 50 could buy a product, get a rate today, get the income after 10 years. We extended that to someone in their 40s who had a long way to go in terms of the earning years, but wanted a significant period of guaranteed returns over a period of time. So that's where we came up with Sanchay Plus a few years
Yes.
back, and that obviously has created another category in the market for the last 6 odd years. So moving from that objective, we also did realize that we spoke about these mindsets in terms of saying if insurance is an expense, if nothing happens to me, I don't get anything back. So return of premium protection became a fairly scalable option in terms of reaching out. Vineet spoke about accessibility. This is addressing mindset is equally important to kind of get that accessibility. Similarly, participating in India's growth story through unit-linked plans, that has been there for quite some time now. But for the past few years, we increasingly seeing customers open to the idea of buying more protection when they are buying a savings product. So embedded protection became a fairly significant trend, and that's also where through some product called Smart Protect, we kind of furthered that category significantly. And lastly, I think everyone now wants to engage and not be told that, I have a cookie cutter solution, you please take that. The customization and personalization is something that's becoming a very important aspect now. So with our Click to Achieve series, we've tried to actually address that mindset by giving significant number of customization options to folks who are considering our policies, first on the guarantee platform and then on the participating platform. So yeah, I think the list is fairly long, but our starting point is always the customer and how they're thinking about things.
Right. And what must have, Vineet, accelerated the entire process is also the technological innovation, right? Like, Niraj was mentioning Click, and it's literally as simple as that now, right?
So technology has been really the backbone of creating efficiency, even personalization to the customer.
True.
All this is really backed by technology, and technology plays a role at every stage of this journey. Right from when the prospecting is happening, when the customer is deciding which product he needs to buy, or when he's talking to our frontline sales team agent, or his bank person. Which product is best suited for him. For his cash flows, how do you need to customize? Like Niraj is talking about a product called Click to Achieve, where you can actually customize that I need more cash flow, I need less cash flow, I want more back-ended, front-ended. So you can actually do a lot of these permutations, and that's only completely backed by technology.
Yeah.
The second part, where technology really plays a big role is when you start to onboard and assess the risk that as a company we want to do. So there's a financial underwriting involved, there's a medical underwriting involved. And those things are now becoming much more simpler with technology coming in, and a lot of data being available at Click. Customer can just provide access to his documents or give OTPs for reference, and it could be just completely done on an electronic platform for KYC and financial documents. So that's clearly there. I think the big one also after that is servicing, because servicing, we have seen that a lot of customers like to just do it themselves. It's largely a once in a year event when there is a renewal payment, or sometimes if you want to change an address or change a nominee or do some modification to your product, that's when you need to come in. And we have seen 95% of our transactions on service today are completely
Digital.
DIY, completely DIY digital. He only walks into the branch for a very complex discussion. Otherwise, it's all very simple. So this is just about the customer. In fact, insurance sales is a lot assisted. Technology has also gone very deep in assisting the people who are actually talking to the customer. So whether it's training them, so we have AI driven tools which help in training the frontline people. Whether you have explained the product properly, they can practice against the tool and get to know if they're missing something, some important features, etc. Or whether it's trying to give them some tools to create really unique personalized illustrations, etc. So that can be done. So technology is really the backbone of how all this has got evolved. So like Niraj was talking about how the customer trends have moved, I think with technology you are able to now really
It must be providing so much insight, right? All
Absolutely.
the data that you gather.
Absolutely. So even data is now much more available for insights as well.
Absolutely. But Niraj, talking about the regulatory environment, that also must have played a key role in the penetration of insurance itself, with the vision of insurance for all by 2047. Tell me, how has the regulatory environment, the government initiatives helped the cause?
Indeed, it's been the absolute foundation on which we've tried to build all of this. I think the journey started, way back in time with just the state player. Of course, they did what they had to with the kind of macro landscape that we had. 2000, when the sector was opened up to private players, I think that kind of pushed the boundaries in terms of both product innovation as well as in terms of more distribution channels. So that was really the starting point, the way we see the modern insurance landscape in
As
India.
today, yeah.
Also, I think periodic regulatory interventions have actually made a few things very, very, consumer friendly in terms of cap on charges on unit linked products, for example. That was like a very big statement way back in the early 2000s, right? And today, if you compare our products with any other region, you will find them a lot more consumer friendly. Then a lot of things in terms of operating freedom given to companies more recently through allowing them to manage their overall expenses and then deciding how they want to kind of divide the pie. That is completely that's opened up the sector in a fairly big way. Speed to market increasing is through use and file regulations, which basically allow insurance companies to launch products, and then the regulator will hindsight and have a view in terms of whether things are moving in the right direction. So these are some of the things that have happened which has helped this. Also, jointly with the government, I think the accessibility has increased through micro insurance products in a fairly big way. We spoke about credit life in that context, and also products such as Pradhan Mantri Jeevan Jyoti Yojana. That has taken insurance absolutely to the last mile in terms of syncing it with the bank account opening. Very, very low, affordable insurance product as an entry point. So these are some of the things that have happened. In addition to that, I think, of course, as any regulator would, I think financial instruments to enable product innovation have happened from time to time, allowing us to use debt instruments, derivatives, as well as equity derivatives to manage risk. That has been a fairly significant bit. Data availability through aggregator platforms, both government as well as private, has been a fairly significant shift that we've seen, which has allowed us to go further in some of these things. And lastly, I think one of the key catalysts now, as we see the GST reforms.
Yeah.
That's been an absolute strong signal from the government that this category is extremely important. Please consider it. And it's like a wake-up call saying that what you were paying, now you are going to pay a lot lower. And this benefit is very, very important for you. So I think this is a very big step in the journey of insurance for all by 2047, becoming an insured society. So that's the government actually, giving that very strong signal with that. So these are some of the things that have already happened, and there are a few more in the pipeline, which are absolutely going to take us to the next level.
Vineet, since he's already given us the cue on the GST rationalization, of course, the end game is to make insurance affordable and for all by 2047 being the eventual goal. But tell me, how is it that you as an organization sort of navigate around this rationalization in the slabs now? And would long-term affordability also bring in more people into the insurance umbrella?
So I think Niraj spoke about it, one of the biggest changes which have happened now, and now insurance falls into an exempt category, and that makes it more affordable for the customer. On a protection product, GST used to be 18%, now it's 0. So effectively that same product, same price becomes 18% cheaper for the customer to buy. Even on the savings and investment product, this now considerably improves the returns that the customer could look for through an insurance product with that long-term guarantees that we offer, and that really makes the category much more attractive to the customer. What it also does, not so much in the front, is that it also simplifies a lot of understanding for the customer. So if you were buying a product and there was a premium and then there is a GST, so you actually pay a little more than what you have seen, or there is some dissonance, right? Then you have to explain that these are taxes and this. So now what you see is what you actually pay for and buy for. So that also simplification happens, and that's maybe just bringing it more in line with other financial products where it's what you pay for is what you get. So I think that way, from a customer angle, really it simplifies. From an industry, it does create some challenge for now in this transition phase, as there is a input tax credit which is now not going to be allowable. So we are working on various elements of how we rationalize our cost, so that this entire increase in cost is then taken care of. And over the next maybe 1 or 2 quarters, we are going to be aggressively just working on these factors. But we believe these are transactionary in nature, and overall it's a big positive for the industry. And this positive would become get more and more customers to us, because now it's more affordable. Very clearly, it's simpler, so that's also easier. And I think the awareness that this entire reform has also created in the country is also helping. If I just look at trends over the last 30-40 days, the protection business has really, started to look much higher than what it used to look. In earlier growth is last month itself, our growth was maybe, in protection was 2.5x of what the company growth would be. So I think those are some really green shoots. This will normalize to some level. Maybe that momentum will, come down to some normalized level.
Yeah.
But it will definitely be higher than what it was earlier.
And that's the other thing, with the entire HDFC ecosystem, I wanted to understand how is it that you leverage such a large pool of, the entire supply chain, if I can call it that, to try and make insurance more inclusive in that sense.
So making insurance more inclusive is a lot about, improving the accessibility, like you asked in the beginning. And with a large, parent like HDFC Bank, and they also being, one of our largest distribution partners,
Yes.
They do provide us that, big access. So just the network of branches itself is, maybe 7x more than what my own branch would be. So that last mile access goes 7x more. Plus the data availability, plus the understanding of customer financial, the bank is able to really churn out, much better personalized propositions for the customer, which, they really like to buy. So you are able to segment, give the right product to the right customer, and hence, the entire conversion starts to improve. So yes, that's a big boost as well.
Niraj, looking ahead, not myopically, but more from a 10-year perspective, where do you see the life insurance industry headed?
I think we are headed for one of the golden decades for life insurance, if you were to think about it from a 10-year kind of a perspective. All the regulatory and government initiatives that we spoke about, along with all the changes that are happening from a consumer perspective, I think a couple of things are already in the pipeline which are going to make insurance a lot more, let's say, transparent. Capital allocation will be a lot more efficient through some of the changes around risk-based capital and IFRS. Also, what we are seeing is that Insurance Act has some very big ticket items in it, which as and when it kind of comes through, is going to help us attract more capital to the sector. And I think there is a fair bit of recognition that policy stability is going to be critical for this goal to be achieved, and that's something that is fairly well, appreciated by the government as well as by the regulators. And from that perspective, I think 2 or 3 things that we see is 10 years from now, I think information arbitrage as it exists today is likely to disappear with the kind of access to technology that we have today. You are not really going to be, doing something for the lack of options. You will know everything that's available, and you'll be able to make a more informed choice than probably what you were in the past. So that's going to be one of the very key factors. The way the industry is evolving, I think open architecture is going to be one of the key ways in which this can be done. I mean, use of technology, one part of it, but access, a lot more open access is something that we believe is going to be very critical as we go forward. We can also look forward to a lot more comprehensive solutions for customers, which can last through the lifetime, early age, right up to, post-retirement, long-term care solutions through platforms and ecosystems. As we don't exist today. Today we talk in language or in the context of products, but these platform solutions is something that we can expect a lot more as we go forward. So with all of that, I think exciting times ahead. I think, and lots to look forward to from a consumer perspective, and many things that are likely to happen to further the, goal of insurance for all by 2047.
Exponential growth, right? Okay. Niraj, Vineet, both of you, thank you so much for your time today. Good speaking with you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
A truly inclusive insurance ecosystem is one that keeps the customer at its heart, one that grows with their needs, adapts with their life stages, and delivers value beyond protection. As India moves closer to the vision of insurance for all by 2047, partnerships between innovation, policy, and people will define the next era of financial empowerment. So thank you for joining us on HDFC Life Presents live sessions partnered by ET Now. Until next time, keep investing in a secure and confident tomorrow.